Hey everybody, welcome to In Production, the first episode of In Production of 2018. Yeah. Last week we did not do a show because I was sick with the flu.
And I wasn't coming in this office?
Yeah, I don't blame him. There was Lysol sprayed everywhere, disinfectant, changing the world, making things happen. How's everybody doing? How are your New Year's? How are your holidays? I hope you had a wonderful time. Obviously, we can't even start this show without at least acknowledging the fact that Jeff got a haircut. Big news, Jeff got a haircut.
I know I did.
No, I'm kidding. It's about the Panasonic GH5s.
Well, camera came out?
Yeah, GH5s's. Maybe somebody said something on the Facebook group that's like, I don't know if this is talking about the GH5s or multiple GH5s. Which I was like, that's pretty funny.
That is pretty funny.
Well played. And then someone tried to say there was an apostrophe, and that's false. That would be possessive. Right?
Sure.
Yeah, English language.
Yeah. I went to school 20 years ago.
All right, you know. So pardon the coughing. I have a remnant cough of my fluid. Yeah. It's in there. So, yes. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. If you don't know what this is, well, we're probably not going to tell you. We always try and explain it. And it always
it goes all
It goes into some weird, bizarre tangent that doesn't really work out. But this show is about cameras and film and footage and toys and gear and sometimes rants. It's about baby seals.
No.
It's about all kinds of random crap. Whatever we want to talk about that might interest you. We have a chat ski. The chat ski is there. It's about to pop up on the screen here in a second as we kind of go through various things regarding different tech. So today we wanted to talk about the GH5s. Obviously the specs came out for it. The press release came out.
And footage came out.
And footage came
out.
Lots
of stuff came out yesterday.
We're going to talk about the GH5s. Jeff has some Alexa XT footage he wanted to show, and we're going to talk
about it. Yeah, I just found it.
Yeah.
I think it's appropriate.
Just randomly on the side of the road, you found.
Yeah,
some,
I just found it. Yeah, driving the word.
Yeah, he just picked it up. It was just an old Alexa XT.
Yeah,
that's a
shooting stuff.
Not a six top. Who told us that story? That's a tone change story.
Yeah, it is a tone change story. Where they threw an Alexa.
This commercial's stupid. Throw it out the window.
I forgot about that.
Long story. Anyway, so we have some Alexa XT, and the reason we want to look at it is because if we're going to talk about noise with one, we're going to talk about noise with them all.
Yeah. Yeah. And why not go with one of the better cameras?
Yeah,
bigger
exactly.
cameras.
One of the more popular industry standard motion picture cameras. So we're going to talk about the Alexa XT and its noise factor. We're also going to talk about the IBIS issue. IBIS issue.
I screwed you up with that before.
You totally did. The IBIS issue.
Some people are having some irritable bowel syndromes over
the
IBIS.
That's totally true. Sorry for the coughs.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about IBIS and whatever other shenanigans kind of come around about in that space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as always, we like to open the show with beer, and Jeff is the only Jeff's flying
Drew's
solo.
Not drinking anything today.
I'm on a diet, so
he's drinking.
I've been relegated to soda water. So my beer is a delicious 100% natural seltzer caffeine free. It better be calorie free black cherry water pop.
Mine is totally different. Mine is Prairie Artisanal Ales Imaginary Friends IPA.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Imaginary Friends IPA.
It hopefully doesn't have caffeine in it, but it might.
It could. You never know.
It could. Definitely has calories, though.
Yep. So yeah, Chatsky should pop up at some point.
It just popped up.
And so you're in the stream delay.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we got the Chatsky on the screen. So let's just jump right into the GH5s. That's what the majority of you are here for, and we'll have some other things we're going to show. We have a little bit of footage we want to talk about. First off, Sean and Matt, if you're watching, why didn't you send us a camera to play when we wanted to play?
Yeah, I want to play.
There's so many people got to play. We want to play. They probably, because the last time they let us do something for them, we turned in a 9-minute short film. But we can't help it. We're filmmakers. We wanted to prove that the GH5 could do a feature film, and we did. We proved that you could.
Yeah.
It has some
challenges. I just want to prove
but...
the GH5s can too.
Yeah, that's it. That's the ticket.
Yeah.
No, but if you guys have seen, there's a ton of footage kind of trickling out. Luke Newman made a film.
Yeah.
And Mystery Box made a film. They're both in HDR10.
Yeah.
Not HLG. And you might be asking why. It's because we've said it a million times. HDR10 is for...
yeah, I don't think they did an HLG at all.
No, they did no HLG.
Yeah.
Because HDR10 is a different process, and frankly, if you're going to show off log, that's what you use HDR10 for.
Yeah, because both of them shot log.
Right. And it is, HDR10 is shown in the 2020 color space. MPEG, if you're listening, I don't know if you're here yet or not to troll me, but my dear brother, it is very much a 2020 color space thing. So, you know, that's the big stuff. So let's talk about the specs. I don't have a spec sheet in front of me. I'm sure you guys are going to know them way better than us in the chat.
It's got 4K.
It's got 4K. So the big stuff is dual ISO. The ability to have this dual ISO native scenario.
Native ISOs.
I think it was, isn't it 400?
It's 400 and 2500.
400 and 2500. So that's pretty robust. That's a pretty big deal in terms of low light. I mean, that's
2500 is really good.
It is. It's great. We see a lot of people using GH5s, and their biggest concern is low light because you know, whether they don't light things or they don't care to light things or they don't have the money to light things. Low light's a big deal, so then they have a speed booster and they're shooting with 0.95 lenses like the Voigtlanders and all that stuff. And so, hey, look, now you can use that like a 12 to 60 with the non-permanent f-stop with the variable f.
Yeah,
you can
just take it to 12,000.
You can just take it to 12,000 and be done with it. So I'm curious to see how that stuff works out. I mean, there's been test footage released, but nothing I feel like was really utilizing the ISO, maybe mystery box film slightly.
Of the official stuff?
Yeah, the official stuff. And they were good. I'm not critiquing anybody's filmmaking process. I just didn't feel like there was anything that really popped out to me.
I think mystery box probably pushed theirs a little bit farther, I think.
Yeah, they did.
Sure.
That nighttime dancing stuff with the Native American was pretty amazing. But yeah, so there's some... But again, it was an HDR, so it becomes a weird scenario for me because we understand the HDR workflow.
It does.
I kind of want to see a scene. And the reason I want to see a scene that's kind of dimly lit or utilizing this, whether it's on a street or whatever it might be, is I really just want to see how somebody takes advantage of the other major feature that I'm excited about with that camera, which is timecode. The fact that it has timecode, and I would like to state again, for the record, we called it. We said we believed it was going to have timecode, that there would be some kind of port involved. I did not think it would be in the flash sync port. That is genius.
It is.
But we did call that timecode would be something, and I think now the S still stands for studio for me.
It could. We definitely did not call the dual ISO.
We did not call. I didn't think they'd do it.
No, I didn't either.
I mean, that's a Vericam or an EVA 1 product. I mean, that's like a huge deal. It's a high-end
thing. It's a very huge deal.
The funny thing is you don't see a lot of EVA 1 people complaining about not having IBS.
True.
Or lactose intolerance. You don't see a lot of EVA 1 people complaining about IBIS. You don't see a lot of red people complaining because that's part of the game. Right?
It is.
And I understand it. If you're using a run and gun thing, you want to make it simpler. And I get the market that it's for. But I almost see the GH5s as a step up from the GH5 on a filmmaking platform.
I think so.
Because it's more like that camera right there. It's more like that red.
It was the dual ISOs, the no internal stabilization, time code.
Right.
Yeah,
the time code thing's huge.
Yeah, time
code's a massive thing. They almost acted like HLG was new, which was kind of weird to me because it's already been around.
Yeah, they kind of did, but it was very glanced over. It was very quick.
Well, I just don't think there's anything new with it.
There's not. I don't think there's anything new with it. The newest thing with it right now is that DirecTV is broadcasting.
Well, that's what I was telling you.
HDR. Yeah, that's the only. That's the newest HLG.
Yeah, I confirmed. So, DirecTV has a 4K HDR channel that's presented in HLG.
Yeah, DirecTV finally came out and said it was HLG.
Yeah, well, I mean, my TV triggers. The Vizio we have triggers it. But I've been watching 4K content on that, and it's 4K HDR content, I should say. I've been watching on that, and it looks fantastic. HLG is still not my favorite. Because it's a compression ratio, when they broadcast it, there's some weird compression stuff that happens, but it looks pretty good. I mean, versus like an HDR10 movie. Yeah. I don't have an HLG movie.
Well, and you'll get the same thing with regular broadcasts compared to a movie.
Right. So. I was kind of hoping the most important news that happened this year so far would have been broadcast in 4K HLG, which is the fact that Alabama is the national championship.
For the last time.
No.
No. No. No.
That's
Not
what
gonna
everyone's
say yes
saying.
anywhere.
Alabama, kablama, Rama Jamma.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed with that in a way.
Why?
Not because of the game, because it was broadcast only on ESPN.
I know. I was kind of hoping that maybe somebody would have a dual.
I don't have ESPN.
Oh.
So I was like,
You could have called me. I would have let you
I
log
was
in.
a couple seconds behind.
Were you? You listening on the radio?
I was listening and
Eli Gold?
watching on CBS Sports.
Is Eli Gold ours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Always mix them up. What's your
Eli's
guys?
good. Couldn't tell you. Stan White is one of them. I couldn't tell you who our main guy is.
In the South, where football is the only thing we got, y'all.
Yeah.
That's why we have to bring it up.
Yeah. Or in the state in particular.
Can you now say Roll Tide?
I can say Roll Tide. It was actually a great game.
Well, the first half was boring.
No, the first half was really good too.
Oh,
Just
it's terrible.
if you're an Alabama fan, it
terrible.
wasn't great.
See, we deviate. We're talking about football
Yeah.
when you guys want to talk about the GH5s. But yes, so very excited that it has HLG still, that they didn't get rid of it. I was curious about 4K anamorphic, but looking at what what's his face has done, Luke Newman and them.
Yeah.
They shot with master primes that looked like they shot 4:3 anamorphic and then cropped.
Yeah, well, it's Master Anamorphics. That's what
Right.
they shot with.
So they shot with master anamorphic. So
yeah.
I'm assuming 4K anamorphic is there and maybe 6K.
Yeah.
Does anybody know? Has anyone seen
I don't
6K
think there's
been
6K
eliminated?
at all.
I don't think there's a 6K.
I don't think
at
there's
all.
a 6K photo. It's only 4K photo.
Right. So they again because of the sensor being different. But,
Yeah.
So that's a big one. I could care less about the autofocus problems. I mean, you
Or
know,
corrections, I don't know. Isn't it different?
what the autofocus?
Yeah,
No, I
it's-
think it's still the same.
Oh, is it the same?
I think it's the same principles. I don't think
Trev
they've
said
changed
6K
anything.
isn't there.
Yeah.
So
So 6K is definitely gone. So
Yeah.
that's what we even said that. I believe
Yeah.
we said that we would lose
We did.
6K. I thought we'd lose anamorphic in total, but glad to see that it's not totally gone.
all the way.
No, I mean it's just a 4:3. I mean
know.
this is a simple
It is.
sensor scenario.
Trev's right though. It's the sensor. Trev said it's the sensor. It's not big enough.
Yeah.
Which is
But it's cool. It's cool
Yeah.
that they still kept anamorphic for that. Especially like, you know, again, I see that camera as a much more of a film motion picture friendly camera
I do too.
than I do anything else. And, you know, a lot of people are excited about timecode that don't really understand why the timecode is really exciting.
Yeah.
It's not just to sync the two cameras. It's so that if you have an audio guy sitting there, like that's what my pitch to Panasonic would have been. Is what we want to do is we want to take two GH5Ss.
I think that was our.
We wanna
not
jam
GH5s. But
No.
that was our pitch.
No, but I'm saying now I want to take two
Yeah.
GH5Ss, jam sync them, right? To a professional audio guy who has a full rig, like Jared, who was on the show.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, he gives great advice, but sound advice, as we say, haha.
Yeah.
But like work with a real audio guy, work in that real process, and treat it like a feature all the way down to the dailies, because now we can have displayed time code
You could.
to run off of, and we could
Yeah.
do our full daily production process
could.
as if truly we were doing a feature film.
Yes.
The same exact process. And I would actually show both sides of that. My pitch would have been to shoot the short film in some kind of low light, cool dialogue scene, some kind of beats there, less than 9 minutes, like 2.5, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Because what I would have wanted to see is the range of stuff. I don't just need to see exterior daylight or exterior sunset or sunrise or pure nighttime shots. I want to see something where there is a little bit of light and it's just maybe not enough. Or how does that camera handle a 25 ISO? Because suddenly, you know, now I've got to stack a bunch of ND in the front in order to make it give me some kind of f-stop that I'm happy with. So that would have been cool to see from that kind of stuff. And maybe they did. Maybe that's what Newman and Mystery Box did. And they didn't have any dialogue.
No.
Newman had dialogue.
Yeah, he had dialogue.
Yeah, but he was shown using the straight-to-camera gimmick.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like treating it like a film piece.
Yeah.
With a smart slate in the whole game.
I agree. And then actually I would sync it off of the slate or off the sound guide.
Yeah, just to show that, look,
Yeah.
the time code from the GH5 matches a smart slate. Like, that is production right there. That is a red element. Now, granted, the sensor and all that, but the other production stuff that you have to care about as a camera operator, DP, producer, that stuff is, you know, my God, man. The only thing we're missing is B and C. If they would have given us a HD SDI out, can you imagine?
That's the thing. I know that there is a battery grip coming out. I'm wondering if a battery grip has through all their connections in the space. I don't know if it'll have the space though. If you could do SDI in and out.
At that point, they've destroyed the EVA 1. Already,
Yeah.
in my opinion, they've damaged the sales of EVA 1 with this camera in a great way.
I think in a way they have, yeah.
I mean, to some people, this camera is going to be good enough for what they need.
Yeah, no, it definitely is.
It has time code. You may not have BNC out, but frankly, HDMI out to an Atmos. Like, again, I think the Atmos is hands down the best value of any item you can possibly purchase outside of the camera. Next to lenses,
I think
of
so,
course.
yeah.
I think it's
I agree
phenomenal because you can even run sound through the Atmos if you had to.
No, you could.
I don't like it.
I don't
It's
either.
failed us.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, that was a terrible situation.
It might
but
have not been the Atmos' problem, though.
that could have
Who
been
knows?
a
It
combination
could have
of
been
user
a
error.
user error.
Yeah.
Well,
let's do this real quick while we're kind of gathering some of your notes in here. What you guys are saying in the comments. We're going to come back and keep chatting. Let's just take a look at the footage. So basically, any footage we show today is going to be shamelessly like a That's What She Said segment. So that's where we shamelessly plug a channel. But because we borrowed some of their footage, we want to shamelessly plug them. So the first one up here is from Rom's Prod Productions. It's this nighttime stuff. If you guys have not seen this, actually no, I don't want to do that one first. Let's do this.
do the other one first, yeah, because that one's.
This one's from Extra Shot, who's a YouTube user. They go by Extra Shot. If you have a chance, this is some kind of generic sort of footage. I would call this like semi-professional or upper end consumer footage.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it pro grade, but they definitely have some skill involved. So let's take a look at. Oh crap! I forgot to put it in here. Can't have a show without flaws.
All right, well, we will shamelessly plug Extra Shot, but not show us footage.
Yeah, that's the ticket.
All right, so I'll go into the comments here for a section while
Yeah,
you're
go
doing
ahead and
that.
take the comments while I fix the world.
While he was asking the cost, Elliot Hale, yes, you got it correct. From what I understand, $2,500.
Yeah, it's right at 25.
Yeah, we've had a couple people get bumped off too.
Really?
On here, yeah, bumped off Jeff Diffner, who is back with us, I think. Yeah, the 6K isn't there. The sensor's not big enough. Thing about the 6K mode, you can't monitor it externally anyways. I actually think if the sensor probably was, with the amount of complaints they had, they might have fixed that.
Right.
I know that the GH5s has the Type A HDMI 2 external out of it, so it will do HDR and everything out, and it'll do 60p out, from what I understand.
What?
Also, the camera GH5s.
Yeah,
the new HDMI that's on it.
Oh, it is. It will
Yeah.
do it. They upgraded HDMI hardware.
Yeah, the hardware of the HDMI.
That's
is
big.
upgraded.
No one's
Yeah.
talked about that. That's huge.
So that might actually be able to pop up the 6K on the GH5s, but the sensor's not there, so
Right.
you can't do it.
Yeah.
If it's not sensor,
Well, see, I would have taken a trade-off in IBIS. I would lose the
I would
IBIS
too.
if I could have had 6K output over that. 6K anamorphic output.
Yeah.
That makes it a super beast.
Oh yeah,
I got this footage ready. Do you have more questions? Or
No,
do
that's
you
fine.
wanna-
Yeah, Trev had not a question but a statement, and I agree with. But
What was Trev's
it's if no hardware involved, TC should absolutely come to GH5 as firmware update. People will feel slighted if it doesn't.
Well,
I agree
how are you
with
going
it.
to get it in?
Well, you go through the same way, but I think it's hardware on the inside.
Yeah, I don't think the flash port's the same. I think they've changed that whole configuration out. I don't think
know.
you can. I don't think it's just a cable you plug in with turning it on. I think it's an entirely different pin. It's almost like a little mini Lemo is what I think they've changed it to.
Not sure,
Yeah.
but interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
I would
All right,
like
so
to
let's
have
take
it.
a look at this footage
Yeah.
real quick. Again, this is from Extra Shot, which is a nice bunch of fellas. And this is kind of like some, what we thought was just some decent generic looking GH5s footage. right, so there's some kind of general, what we would just call general footage. And I mean, it is. It's just that. It just felt like general footage, like somebody took their camera out and shot something quickly and efficiently or whatever.
But it's cool that he went from daytime to night, so you kind of get to see the difference.
The downside is, I don't know how far they push the ISO, so you're not getting a lot of that information.
Yeah, I wish they would have said that.
If that's the footage, I'll be candid about it right here. If that's the footage that I saw that was meant to, you know, that plus the Newman film plus the Mystery Box film, I don't know if I would be fully over the edge with it yet.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. It's not that I'm snobbing out. It's just I can get those same results from a GH5. I didn't see anything in there that really pushed the boundary for me. I mean, you're not opposed to using noise correction to use something like neat or whatever when we have to. But I would just bring more light. So for me, and again, it didn't really showcase anything with Timecode. Trev had a great question about Timecode. What was that one?
Would you pay for it, Timecode, as an upgrade if Panasonic offered a mail-in service? He thinks he would.
Yeah, I probably would.
I would.
At least on one of our cameras, I would.
I absolutely
would. We have two GH5s, so yeah, I'd probably do it.
I would probably do the one, check it, and then if it worked really well, ship another one.
Yeah, that's probably what I'd do.
Yeah. I would definitely do it.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
I take the risk.
Well, then
that's the one thing we don't actually know yet, though.
Right.
We don't know how good the Timecode works on it. Nobody really tested it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I'm curious. Like, it's a cool feature, but I need to know... because a lot of times, like, Red has a tough time. Like, our Epic has a tough time with Timecode.
Oh, it drifts all the time.
So that's the bigger thing is, like, what if you're doing a longer take? Like, I've seen a lot of corporate guys talking about it'd be nice to have their cameras synced. The other side of this, man, is inside of Premiere. I don't know about Final Cut or IBIS or I mean, I know in Avid, but...
Yeah.
I know not in DaVinci. I don't think there's a sync.
Is there a sync? DaVinci's got a sync.
Yeah, so all of these programs have syncs now. You don't have to use Pluralize anymore. If you remember that nightmare of a process of XMLs and all that junk.
All you need is a ref track.
Yeah, you just have a ref track and a recorder. So, I don't know. It's not that hard to sync cameras. I think the timecode element for me and Jeff would be that in our post workflow, we would have a sync lock that we could work off of.
Yeah.
I know that Horst, who, if you guys saw one of the Christmas episodes, when he was here, he was talking about the fact that they use a lot of smaller cameras when he was on Fast 7, whichever one, and Fast 8. But I know on Fast 7 they used a bunch of, or no, Fast 8 is what he was talking about.
Fast 8, the micros don't do it.
Yeah, and they didn't have time code for some of those, so they had to go in. So it would be, I mean, in all honesty, like, that'd be pretty awesome. Like, that, I know that they use Canon 5D Mark IIs or something like that. I don't totally remember now, but they would use those as reference cameras when they were working on whichever one they did Paul Walker's face.
Yeah, that's
7, I
guess.
Yeah.
7,
so on Fast 7 they were using those because they needed a reference camera, a witness camera is what they call it. And so it'd be amazing to have that witness camera with time code that's slaved to the main camera anyway, because then your witness camera would have the same TC. Yep. That's a huge deal. Like, that's big. That means that puts that camera, like, time code is in some weird way, in my opinion, is a way of kind of justifying its professional stakes in the world, because it's beyond sensors. Sometimes it's just form, and you know, having a smaller camera with smaller lenses makes a big deal to some operators on certain projects.
Yeah.
So
certain projects, certain situations.
I just don't know if what I'd seen up until this point was worth the cost of admission to purchasing a camera. Like, we have 2 of these. Do we need a third? Not really. Would I like to upgrade one of them? Absolutely. I wish Panasonic had a red program where you could trade in
I actually do wish they had
GH5.
that, especially since they did the EVA 1 and then the S.
Right.
I really do wish that they had some kind of trade-in.
It'd be amazing.
Service like Reds do.
The crazy part is, I think if you had, I'm curious, like, somebody needs to put out the footage. Hopefully it's us, hint, hint, Stone Street Films. I want to put out footage that is GH5s sitting next to a EVA 1 and then really knowing what your B camera scenario truly looks like in that capacity. So it might be handy. I see a bunch of questions over here.
There's a couple, Elliot doesn't think that Panasonic would do that with timecode, because I agree, it is a major selling point for the GH5s. But at the same time, dual ISO to me was a big selling point for the EVA 1. And now they've gone and cut that.
Yeah.
So anything's possible, I think, Panasonic, honestly. I think they're trying to push the game as far as they possibly can. And they really did a good job with those.
No, they did.
Over the Sony.
Yeah.
You know, they put them into the same thing is Sony. While we missed the horse show, sorry, Wally. We have it up, I think. Though,
Yeah, it's up there.
But
It's up there.
he wanted to ask horse a question, but
About Welly.
yeah. John McCabe, can you talk about later about sync lock? Not sure what you mean. On that.
Well,
We can definitely do that.
Yeah.
Craft Show, I'm not a big fan of having IBIS taken out. I think it's a huge deal, but on the upside, high quality 3-axis gimbal prices are through the floor, so you can get great stabilization for that. For it.
From Trevo.
Yeah, it's from Trev.
Yeah, I mean, I
totally
get it.
agree.
The IBS being gone, however, like, I don't have IBS with a red. I don't have IBS on an Alexa. I don't have IBS on Eva 1. I don't have IBS on a Canon C200, 300, 400, 6 million. You just don't have IBS, so it's a major advantage that the GH5 has it. It
is.
But that's what makes the GH5 have a competitive advantage, in my opinion.
It does.
The 6K anamorphic is amazing, but without the output,
Yeah.
4K anamorphic is good enough.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's what it's for.
It sets up the scenario of having that IBS is pretty amazing with the GH5.
Yeah.
So I would argue that you plan carefully to do your shots if you had access to both or had to shoot on both.
Yeah, you got to plan carefully. And I understand what Trev's saying, and I thought about it a lot. It takes the smaller companies or prosumers, and it forces you to start having to think about gimbals.
Right.
Which, I mean, some of the gimbals aren't, the Ronin S, which Trev mentions in here, that's brand new, came out yesterday as well. But like the Crane 2 and the Moza Air.
Yeah, but we
had
they're
a
GH5.
Not that cheap.
No, they're not. Nor is a Movi. We had them on a Movi.
They're not
We shot a bunch
expensive
of
and they're
stuff.
not cheap.
Right.
But it does incorporate you having to start going towards the gimbal side of things instead of being able to do it in camera.
Yeah,
But I
but
think
it's
the gimbal
good in
side
camera,
actually
but it's
looks
not.
better.
Yeah, but I would pick a gimbal over in camera anyway.
I would too.
And
but you have
frankly-
people that just can't afford it. So I understand,
understand,
the
but-
IBIS.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the arguing points over this camera for a long, long time.
But it's my same counterpoint to that, which is still standing in that the feature set currently available in the GH5s is more of a professional feature set
it is.
than what is currently available in the GH5.
Yeah.
That's how I view it.
A lot of these lenses, too, still have their IS.
Yeah, I mean, you still get it with that. I mean, if you need it. I mean, obviously, not all of them work.
Yeah.
In that capacity, but it does exist in that way. So
it does. I can understand why people are upset about it, but at the same time, it's not something I care that it's on or off.
I mean, we're going to build ours out the same. It's going to end up on a shoulder rig, and it's going to be we're going to try and put as much weight.
Handheld.
Right, handheld's going to look handheld.
Yeah.
We don't try and cut that corner, but I understand why others might. I get your point.
Yeah.
But my separation is...
I'm just defending it for other people.
Suddenly, though, it's the frustrating part about what I saw yesterday in the backlash was it's something like everyone wants a camera that literally is a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
And you can't.
They do.
We don't currently have the technology to make a Swiss Army knife. We just don't have it right now. Because, again, my issue with MFT is the same issue that a lot of other DPs have. It's just I don't like the crop factor. I don't like the fact that it doesn't have that S35 look or just a 35 look. Like, I just don't... It bothers me. And now that we have a speed booster attached, it's a little bit different game.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have that on there, but that costs $700.
No, it does.
Or $650 or whatever it is. So $650 for that, and then starting to buy EF lenses, and then you're in a whole. I mean, it's a balancing act. That's the whole point.
I mean, from the upper standpoint, I'd say that your Swiss Army knives are the Alexa Mini and Reds.
Right.
But they still don't do everything.
That's right.
You still need gimbals and stuff, stuff like that.
That's exactly right.
To make it all work.
That's totally right.
And these cameras are great. On GH5, GH5s.
Look, we're cutting our reel right now, and there's GH5 footage in our demo
reel. A lot of the back end of the year is GH5.
I mean, our pro reel that we use to solicit work, hopefully we'll get more of.
Exactly.
Has GH5 footage in it. Like, we stand behind it. We're not just saying it. We believe in it enough. And it's not just heirloom. Yeah, it's in there because that's some pretty stuff. Yeah. But we also have, especially like the SDR version, we have... we have GH5 footage that has won us work and has got us attention from national level producers, and that's from just shooting it well. So the camera is there, the abilities are there, the camera works, it does a great job.
The cameras have gotten to the point where it really does come down to how you tell a story.
visually.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
and you've got to be able to
gonna,
shoot.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can do it with almost anything.
No, I totally agree. Now, we talked about the footage. Let's talk about the sync lock thing. What we're referring to on the sync lock, was he asking us to explain sync lock?
Yeah, he said he wasn't sure what we meant about sync lock.
Basically, at that point, you have a 3-device system. So, like, you would have, well, just
and you can do
hold
it too,
that.
but
all right, so you be the this is the time code generator. This is the jam box. This is the lock it box. So all this thing does is generate time code, and it spits out time code, right? So then what I'm able to do is then take my two, and this could be coming from the sound guy or it could be an attachment on the camera. Then what I'm able to do is take that time code and connect this camera. So now this camera is using time code. So A cam has the same time code as this primary device, and B camera has the same time code as this primary device, which means A and B cameras are in sync lock. So if you put them on a timeline and you search for 121, 15, and 32 frames and 12 frames, you suddenly will have the exact same moment of time captured via timecode lock. That's what it's for. So that's a really big deal when you're doing feature work. I'm sure it's big in corporate land, but in feature work, we shoot multiple cameras a lot in the feature land. So there might be an A cam that's capturing.
Even if you're shooting one cam,
yeah,
it's because you're recording audio separately.
So now you have a better audio. The audio recordist is getting very clean, focused audio. That individual is focusing on their job. You're focusing on camera operating, and you're not worried about like cables and wires in the same sense. I mean, you do to a degree, but it's a little bit more loosey-goosey. It gives you a little more freedom.
It does.
And you'll still have a ref mic on the camera to bail you out when something goes out of sync, but like it's there. So for the most part, that sync lock allows you to then take those cameras with an audio device or a jam sync box and suddenly distribute the same time code across multiple platforms. It's a really big deal. So if you're in A/B coverage, meaning like there's 2 close-ups happening, one day we'll break down some of that stuff, but like in A/B coverage where A camera's got like maybe a single on Jeff and B camera is an over-the-shoulder profile through Jeff onto somebody else or whatever it might be, those being in sync are pretty important so your performance is captured with as much robust nature. However, it's also important when you go into post that then you have this universal time code so when someone starts cutting, they can see those TC marks. Or so if someone offers notes. So if a producer's watching dailies and they have the time code window burned, they can
all
say,
the way down the pipeline. Yeah.
From beginning to end. So that now that footage is universally the same. When I refer to this time code on this reel, you know exactly, or this this take or whatever, you know exactly the same one. So it's not just approximation, it's frame precision. That's a big difference in the film side. Is when you're working with multiple people and multiple players, having that precision is crucial. Yeah.
And that's audio, video, or audio, color, edit, VFX.
Yeah.
You know,
all the way down the pipeline. And that's where the TC and being able to have that time code lock for us is a huge deal.
Yep.
I hope that answers your question. If not, you can always shoot us an email, drew@craftshow.com, jeff@craftshow.com.
Yep.
We will gladly try and explain it or find something or do whatever we can to help it make more sense. Any other questions in the pipe?
Yeah, while we had to go.
Oh, sorry, Wally.
He's got a job, though.
Yeah. So. MPEG is here.
Yep, MPEG is here.
Hello, MPEG.
The still side of the GH5 is burden for video. I agree, and that's one difference I see from these 2 cameras. You know,
well, the S is like forget stills, like
for the most part, for high quality production stills, definitely.
Yeah, I mean they threw them away.
Yeah,
I did watch in the national championship yesterday. I was watching, and there was a guy that had his Canon, and then his closer. I mean, it still had a Canon lens on it. Was a Lumix.
That's cool.
I don't know what model. It looked like a GH5, but I don't know totally what model. Bless you.
Excuse me.
And the homeboy was using it as
Dan Anderson. No,
it was not Dano. Dano is talking about going Sony.
He is.
Yeah. But we've talked about a lot of this stuff. I want to show some footage that me and Jeff saw that was like, now we're in. Like, we're 100% in. We both just kind of lost our marbles over it and kind of looked at it from a, man, this stuff looks fantastic. So this content, if you've seen it, sorry, you got to watch it again. If not,
it wasn't
worth
as
looking at.
It wasn't as promoted yesterday.
It really wasn't, and I would have pushed the crap out of it.
Yeah.
It comes from a company called Rom's Prod. So I think it's Rom's Production. They're on YouTube as well. But if you go to the website, you can find a link for it. But it's Rom's Prod. I'll pop the link up here when the video starts. This stuff I thought was just absolutely beautiful footage that's very stable. I don't know if they did a post stabilization. Obviously, there's some aerials in it, so they're probably in some kind of heli with a
Yeah, I
stabilizer.
think they're in a heli.
So they might have had like one of those auto gimbals or something. But
Yeah.
this footage is absolutely outstanding. So let's take a look at that again. Rom's Prod. You'll see the link up there. All right, so there you go. That stuff I think is absolutely phenomenally beautiful looking footage. Jeff and I both were like, okay, if that's the case, totally different beast. We had gotten some great looking footage that we've shown in HDR from our good pal Sully Cortez.
Yeah.
Sully gave us some stuff that was shot, and it looked great. Now, don't get me wrong, New York is a bright city. Like, it is a bright city.
Yeah.
But just the fact that it felt, the way he composed the shots and the way the flow of it went, the nighttime aerials is one thing, but the other content inside of it, it just looked really good to me.
It does.
Like, I would have loved to have seen that in HLG or
Yeah.
HDR, any flavor of HDR. I don't even really care.
As MPEG points out in the comments, too.
Yeah, I figured MPEG would have
Yeah.
something. Like, that stuff would have been amazing in HDR.
Yeah.
And we'd gladly do it. I don't know if Rom's Prod watches the show or
Yeah.
not, but I would gladly love to take that reel and put it into HDR just for my own
Just to be able to
benefit.
watch.
Yeah, I just want to see it in HDR. It was gorgeous stuff. Like, absolutely. So that footage is what sold me on falling in love with the GH5s. Is the simple fact that that stuff looked so good.
It does.
I mean, it just shines like a champ.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's some of the
And
best
I think
I've
he
seen.
was shooting all of that on MFT lenses. Like, I don't think he shot...
No, yeah, I think at the end of it, he says that it's all Panasonic lenses.
Yeah, he shot with all Panny glass, which
Yeah.
is like Panasonic glass.
Like the
that's,
12 to 60 and
Yeah.
the
I mean, that's
1835 or whatever
epic.
it is.
That's
yeah.
epically awesome. It's just well-framed stuff, and he thought through his shots. I'm sure there's B-roll where the shots didn't work out, and there's things that didn't
Oh,
work.
yeah, there is. you
But
know.
that's part of editing, right? I mean, if you're a producer and you're a videographer or camera op or whatever you might be, if you get to have the post side of things, part of that joy is you get to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You get to kind of make it up on the back end.
Definitely.
So, I don't know. I thought that stuff was gorgeous. What do you guys think about it? Tell us in the comments or in the chat ski. What do you think of the footage? We thought it was pretty amazing. So, kudos to both groups. Hot Shots and...
Effect shots, wasn't it?
No, it was Hot Shots.
Was it Hot Shots?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
It was Extra Shot.
Extra shot. There you go. See?
So
That's
kudos to Extra Shot and Rom's Prod for supplying with some footage. And again, if you have a chance, check out Luke Newman and or Mystery Box.
Yeah.
They both made...
They're on the Lumix channels.
Yeah.
And
Their
the
official
Panasonic
Lumix
channels.
releases. I hope somebody soon will have the ability to kind of test the Timecode in a very much a film production sense. And so that I think would be gorgeously amazing to see how it ties all together that way.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, obviously, with that GH5s, with this number of increases they gave us with the dual ISO, the Timecode, obviously the dual ISO is the reason. They 86'd the, which is an old restaurant term for getting rid of.
Yeah.
They got rid of the IBIS. And I mean, it was like tremendous uproar over getting rid of that. And I completely understand. We've kind of already talked about it. But just to reiterate the point, to me, it's not the end of the world. I think it means you have to be a little more clever about your production process. How you're going to film, how you're going to do a specific scene. I think it makes you potentially a better shooter because you have to consider all of the options at that point.
You do. I agree.
It can't just be a general, just spray and pray kind of, it's... A lot of times
but it's just you're gonna have to deal with the handheld effect of it compared to the stabilized effect.
Yeah, that's totally it.
That's really what it is.
It's 100% it.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see what people can do with it. And again, if they have to put on a stabilizer, all right, I get it. But like at the same time, get a shoulder rig, get a proper shoulder rig, and shoot it that way. And let's see what we can crank out. I'm curious. I just really want to see some really dynamic looking nighttime or low lit interior. I don't care. Just something where there's not a ton of light.
Yeah.
That's not like underexposed to be like, look, I shot with no lights. I'm talking about stylistically. I want to see The Arrival is what I want to see. That is a barely lit film.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very lit, but I mean, they controlled it.
Yeah.
So I want to see somebody attempt some kind of Arrival look where you just have like this really, really dense leveling of practicals and a lot of negative fill. And I just think it would be amazing to see that kind of project with it.
I think it would too. And Mystery Box, I think, was started on the right path with it.
Right.
But then went too far.
The only other thing I did notice, it's a weird thing that it drives me nuts with a lot of video cameras, is I start to see a weird motion in the highlights. That when you bump the ISO up, it starts to look more video-esque, and it reminds me of the Viper. The old, like, Collateral has that sort of look, where there's like this weird ghosting almost type effect.
It's true. Don't see it as much anymore compared to back then, but you do kind of see it.
I could kind of see it in there, but that's not just a GH5. That's like
that's
I
all
see
cameras.
it in the Sony. I see it in all of them. Like I've seen it everywhere, but it's more noticeable to me that I can see this weird highlight sort of video. It's almost like the I don't know what it is. It just looks more video-y than normal. It's not a sharpness thing. It's a video-y thing.
Yeah. It's like a digital signal thing.
It's a digital signal thing. That's exactly the way to say it. That's why we have you and your mighty beard.
Yeah.
Was that CRFTSHO question there from Mario?
Martin was asking if we think Timecode can be added to GH5 via firmware, but Trev answered
no,
that we were speculating over it.
I don't know how you would do it.
Could be a different port. Yeah.
I mean, I just don't. Unless it was another hot shoe gimmick, maybe you could do it with some kind of weird hot shoe gimmick. But I don't think you're going to get Timecode into the GH5. I think they're going to keep that as a selling point for the S, which you said.
Yeah, I think
is
they will.
Brilliant.
MPEG saw a video yesterday, no HDR though.
Yeah. So let's talk about, we talked about IBS. We've kind of covered all the points on the GH5S that I feel like are necessary to cover in that space. Obviously, as more info comes out, we can talk about it more and break it down more. Hopefully, we get a chance to play with one. Again, I would love to really put it through its paces in a scene scenario and see what we can do there. I'd love to put it up against a Red. I think the Sony comparisons are good, but us, like I want to see it work as a B cam. I'm just curious to see, or maybe it does a better job as a primary. I don't know, but I'd love to play with that stuff. So the other thing we wanted to show is some really crazy, and this is kind of your show. This is some Alexa XT footage, and the reason that we wanted to show some of this is that we wanted to show the raw sort of RE log or log C content And we're going to show, Jeff did a grade on one, so we have graded and ungraded, but the point is for you to see this RE footage. And I want you to pay attention to like the noise pattern in this, because no camera on the planet is impervious to any sort of noise.
Yeah.
It's great that the GH5 has the dual ISO because it gives us so much more flexibility, but it's still potentially down the road it's going to have noise. And I think the idea of it being a noiseless camera in this small of a package is ridiculous. So here's some of that footage. I'll let Jeff kind of talk over, but here's some of that Alexa XT footage.
This is
turn off this.
It's really just I ran across this is from something I did.
Nope, I forgot to fix the audio. Give me 1 second. I know. I'm just a terrible person.
There it started and then it went away.
I'm a terrible person. They're going to say no audio, but now I fixed it. I
think you fixed it.
I think I fixed it.
Yeah,
hey, did I fix
looks like
it?
we fixed it.
I fixed it. All right, go ahead.
So yeah, this is Alexa footage from a project that I worked on a little over a year ago. And I just wanted to show it because everybody is all about the noise patterns, and everybody talks about how an Alexa is the top camera out there, or the big boy camera per se. And they still have a noise pattern in Alexa footage. This stuff is, I think everything I put on here is all exterior footage. It's all RE log C. It's originally a 16:9 2K output is what we did or recorded, and it was going to this 2K display. I just wanted to show it so that we can see kind of what a grain pattern on these look like. You know, a GH5, GH5s. Every camera has it. And this is a lot of heads and tails, basically, for stuff that we were shooting on this project I was on. Couldn't really show everything for this. So there's going to be almost no skin tones in this whatsoever. I think I had 2 people crossing the street in that street shot. But a lot of this is shot daytime, sunset, and nighttime. There's 2 nighttime shots in here. There's going to be one that's coming up in just a second. This is actually night, really. This is after dusk.
Right.
And it's starting to get really dark outside. And this is 800 ISO. All of this has black Pro Mist filters on them. Every single one of these shots does. And it was to take down the sharpness of the Alexa. And this is fire footage. You know, this is lit with nothing but the fire. This is 800 as well. And then this shot was a test shot that we did. The one of the 2 guys standing there. That shot was a test to see if we could shoot with an Alexa with no other light. We were using the light from inside the warehouse, which is a printing press warehouse, actually. And then the 2 guys out front are literally standing under a very well lit exit sign. We're trying to use the exit sign as light.
Right.
That was 1600 ISO.
It's
fully
pretty
wide
noisy
open.
too.
That's 1 point. I think the whole thing was shot on Paney Primo primes, and I want to say they're a 1.4 or 1.6.
And it was
done. We were wide open. Yeah, we were wide open on it.
Yeah.
And we ended up having to put. I want to say we put 3 4Ks up to mimic the outside and brought it up.
Yeah.
Because it was too noisy to deal with.
Right. Which is the point, right? So it was too noisy in that. So then even taking that same footage and then going back through, we're going to look at it again, and maybe you can talk about some of the, because there's a couple other specialty.
Yeah, every single one of these shots. This first shot, actually, the first shot has diopter on it as well, but these first shots actually have chocolate filters on them. These first 2 in the woods. And chocolate filters are there to just give a little bit of warmth. I think we did chocolate 1s on these because it wasn't much in this. It's a very stylized film or shoot that we were on.
Yeah.
Where we had 3 different time periods where 3 different looks were having to be incorporated. So we worked a lot of it with filters.
So that's in-camera type stuff.
Yeah. This one actually just has the black Pro Mist filter on it, the outdoor. 2 people walking, which has got a little bit of skin tone. It's all skin tone I can give out of this project. We shot it what I call the proper way of shooting. Slate, first frame, shoot till you cut. Like film style. You don't want to waste any footage. So we have very little heads and tails and spots. This actually is a little different because this has a turquoise filter on it, the lens flare shot. And the turquoise filter we had out for a certain time period, but also to help bring out the blue.
But there's a pro mist on it too, it looks like.
Yeah, pro mist on all of this. And this also has the turquoise. It's from the same time period. This time period is actually technically supposed to be in the 80s was the turquoise. Chocolate filters were 70s and 60s. This project spanned 40-something years. But yeah, it was doing everything set up inside, and then we actually pushed everything farther on the finalized part of the shoot. I didn't show the actual grade that we did on the shoot because it's a very push grade, and it doesn't look normal. And the purpose of this was to show how the camera can work.
Yeah, so you can see. I mean, there's highlight roll off and all that stuff. I mean, even this, like, once you start grading it in, there's noise all through that.
Oh,
like,
yeah, there's noise everywhere.
And there's no way around it. Yeah. So it's kind of like this idea that, oops, let me get the Chatsky box up here. Excuse me. It's kind of this idea that a lot of people get so dialed in on worrying about the noise stuff, and it happens on that's bigger film footage, right? That's an Alexa XT. Yeah. Like, that's maybe the pentultimate for a lot of people of camera technology that they want. I mean,
yeah, a lot of people do. That's why I wanted to put it up there. It's just because everybody thinks it's the greatest thing out there.
Also, what I thought was interesting, which is not related to that, is what frame size were you shooting at?
We shot 2K 16:9, so it's 2048 by 1152.
So,
and that was the deliverable for that one. That's one of the largest Alexa shoots I've been on, actually.
That's my other point, is people complaining about having the ability to shoot this beautiful log footage or the beautiful portrait or natural, whatever setting, HLG, whatever you want it to be, who cares? But the fact that you can shoot true DCI 4K, it's a pretty big deal out of a little bit of camera.
It definitely is.
And on top of it, the anamorphic side of it is phenomenal. I mean, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I guarantee there's been other footage and other shots of content that's been shot on one of these. I remember talking to Matt about it. I don't remember the show, so I don't want to go into it. But, like, you know, other people were talking about using some stuff like that. Like, he was talking about, we can't wait for other people to utilize more of the camera stuff. So the point is that as a camera, yes, it's not a Swiss Army knife of a camera, but my God, man, you have a lot of options, and now you have even more with the inclusion of Timecode, the inclusion of the dual ISO, native ISOs. I mean, the fact that you have that, that footage at 2500 would have been way less noisy than what you just got off the Alexa XT.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you could make an argument for it. Now, granted, the sensor size, totally different beast. The highlight roll-off, different beast.
The highlight roll-off, the DR, the color science behind Alexa. That's
a whole different beast, but you can at least get some things into that space, and you're probably going to, in reality, you're probably going to, not confused, you're probably going to, the average viewer is not even going to know the difference.
No.
The
average viewer will not.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that's the majority of who you're selling a film to, is the average viewer. You're not selling it to pixel peepers.
No.
That's why Blade Runner 2049 didn't do so well. It was sold to pixel peepers. That's my opinion on it. It's a pretty film.
Yeah, it's a very pretty film. Not even just the pixel peepers. That's just super pretty imagery. But it's also a hard science fiction movie.
Right, totally right.
Which a lot of people aren't doing that. So
what do we have happening going in the comments? The chat.
Whole bunch of stuff here.
Yeah, I see these.
Yeah, I'm gotta go back up here. Still some people without picture. I'm sorry about that, everybody. We're doing it the normal way that we
I don't know what we haven't done anything different. I have no idea why you're not getting picture. That's really stupid.
Yeah. MPEG was asking the ballet dancer one. Oh, if the concrete. Yeah, that was mystery boxes. That's from a while ago. I know MPEG, but the concrete wall indoor video was mystery boxes video.
Yeah, that's the one that I think is pretty. It's pretty.
Yeah, no, it's very pretty.
It's got some interesting stuff in it for sure.
Yeah, here we go.
And those guys, Mystery Box, we owe them a lot because they're the ones that kind of helped us with the HDR side of
I would say they're the first small group or small company that really pushed out how to do HDR to other people.
Right.
And they helped us a lot with Heirloom without them knowing it.
Yeah.
but they helped the whole line. And I'm glad that they actually get the credit where it's due and got an opportunity to shoot something for them.
Right.
You know,
it's a very big deal for sure.
And Panasonic knew about those guys when we did our part. You know, and I think because they're one of the ones that threw us towards them.
Right.
So, thank you, Panasonic. Congratulations to Mystery Box.
Yeah, no joke. Well done.
Yeah, some tests.
What are they saying is the question that people are...
Shouldn't raise ISO continuously. You should raise ISO and change shutter speed to keep it.
What
Yeah.
is this?
Which one?
Yeah, there's plenty of GH5s HDR out there, MPEG.
There's
both the Newman film
few, yeah.
and the other film, the Mystery Box film, are both.
Yeah.
Their releases
Those two are both for
HDR 10.
If you go
PQ,
to
whatever you want to call it.
If you go to Panasonic Lumix Studio
Lumix,
YouTube or Lumix Studio, one of those.
Lumix USA, one of the Lumix channels on YouTube, you can find them in there.
Yeah, the French guy is on the Panasonic France.
Yeah, he's from Panasonic France. Yeah. They didn't mandate that.
No, yeah, they did not do HDR on theirs, as far as we know. I'd love to see it if they did.
Yep. Yeah, they triggered for us, MPEG.
Yeah,
I can confirm it. Like
I can tell you which one.
We watched them with HDR 10. We watched it. The YouTube triggered and the TV triggered. So I will say this: if anybody's looking for HDR and to get into it, there's a couple of things. Hopefully soon we have some stuff coming up where we can talk about like using the Sumo to help with your HDR process. But one of those things that we did want to talk about was the Sony that we use, which is the XBR40 or something. I don't totally remember the numbers. I'll post it somewhere. But that Sony, I'll put it in the show notes with an Amazon link.
Yeah.
Help support the show. But that Sony is phenomenal. And the reason we like it so much is because you can actually pick your color. You can choose your color space. So you can pick between 20, 27, and 9 and RGB. So it's manual control. It's not automatic. Some of the other TVs have automatic HDR. So if you're really curious about any of that stuff, I highly suggest a Sony. Now, that said, if you want to view HDR content onto most of the televisions out there, you're going to need to get from YouTube, that is, you're going to need to get a Google Chromecast.
Yeah.
The upside of that is, in buying a Chromecast, it looks like you get a free HDR movie, or at least we did. They gave us a free movie. We bought Spider-Man.
Yeah, I tried to, but I'd already had it or something.
Yeah, I don't know
I
how.
couldn't do it,
it could have just been mine. I had a free movie, but we were able to get Spider-Man Homecoming or whatever it's called to play back in HDR on our office television. I don't have a Google Chromecast at home, but that's a very important tool you're going to need if you're going to monkey with HDR at all whatsoever in that space. It's a cool TV, though. I love the fact that I can actually pick the color space, and it actually has BT 2020 and it has Rec 709. It has the technical engineering terms, so it just makes me happy. I'm not a huge Sony fan, but whatever. Oh, the other thing that was not talked about is Panasonic's new 4K. Can we talk about their HDR monitoring that's coming out?
Their monitoring?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can.
Well, I mean, you're the only one that I know that knows about it. Like, nobody else has talked about it that I've seen. Some of the industry trades, but...
Yeah, that's who released it. Company 3 released the announcement that I read. Company 3, which is the largest strictly color company that's out there. Them, trying to remember, Deluxe and Technicolor all have now changed to where 70 of their mastering suites are now using Panasonic 55 and 65-inch brand new OLED monitors for monitoring, and they are HDR 10, HLG, HDR 10 Plus.
Yeah.
They do not do HDR 10 Pro or HLG Pro. They do Dolby Vision, but
it's
only
limited.
It's limited. It's limited down to 4,000 nit, I think.
Yeah. So the monitor though is what's so crazy. It's like 4,500 or something.
Yeah, I think the monitor supposedly will kick just above 4,000 nits.
4,000 nits, my God.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
But also, Small HD 703 now has a Teradek adapter to it, which is a cool thing for larger sets and stuff like that. But supposedly the new 703 that's coming out with that also will hit 4,000 nits. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah. On a smaller monitor, though, that's the problem that we've run into. That's why something like the Sumo is so attractive to us. Is it's an affordable HDR monitor.
Exactly.
That's
just
20
over
inches.
1,000 nits.
Yeah, I mean it's great. As we talked about, also we were able to test some 4K laser. We got to our office building is 2, and there's only 2 installed in the entire world right now.
The prototypes aren't they?
Prototype
Yeah.
NEC laser projectors, 4K laser. And so it's 2020 color space. They will actually handle HDR if you crank them up. It's a weird, it's an output level thing. So based on what the engineer was telling me last night, we were watching the Alabama game. They were watching the Alabama game on it. It came up to see.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so the thing that's fascinating about it is watching some of the 4K laser stuff. We graded this stuff. Jeff did the work inside DaVinci, but was using the Atmos, the Shogun and Flame. We were using our Shogun Flame to help us make sure we were getting the color spacing right and all that. And it did. It looked
get it close.
Yeah. And it was accurate enough to it worked.
Yeah.
But that's seeing it blown up to a 40-something foot screen, something insane.
Yeah.
Something insane.
It's a pretty decent size screen.
So being able to see that, we're getting to see Heirloom sometime this week, maybe this afternoon, hopefully soon.
Yeah, I haven't watched actually anything on it correct yet.
Yeah, we've only watched. Yeah, Jeff didn't get to see the corrected one. We had an issue with the DCP, and that's a whole other thing. Is like we had to figure out how the DCP process was going to work. So apparently, and it's not that hard. We were actually able to make a 4K scope DCP that was in 2020 color space.
Yeah.
So that means to say, essentially, you could put out a 4K HDR print if we had the tagging to trigger the. But the way this projector works, it doesn't need tagging. It uses a luminous. It's a whole scientific nightmare.
Yeah.
MPEG is probably frothy over it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to see how Company 3 and Deluxe and people like that deliver theirs.
Right.
And, I know some larger companies like Kyoto, don't do any HDR delivery yet.
Right.
So, I mean, it's trying to figure out.
Well, the pipeline's brutal.
Yeah, I have a feeling the pipeline for DCPs to broadcast true HDR is probably a absolutely brutal system. Yeah. And a lot of computers and projectors need to be changed and stuff like that again.
It's a huge...
Same thing as like when film started to die out and you had to go to digital projectors.
Right.
Like we have
theater
theater
huge
here.
transition to do. Anyway, that's kind of all the stuff that we wanted to talk about. If there's anything in the comments that's standing out, not totally sure. But
MPEG says it sounds boring.
Yeah, it sounds boring. I'm sure. Like I told you, MPEG is our regional engineer. Like he's the CRFTSHO engineer. Like if we were GI Joe, MPEG would be the engineer GI Joe, and that's what he would do is just solve engineering problems with video data throughput and whatever else he monkeys with on a daily basis at his fancy schmancy science job. Science.
That's what we need a button for.
Yeah, we do need a
science
science
button.
I need a science button.
Need a science button.
We
don't use it when.
If you guys haven't had a chance, check out the LUTs that we put out. They will work with the GH5s, but we don't know until we get some footage to confirm it.
We could do a slight update.
Yeah.
On that.
Yeah.
The person we are doing this for, our friends to the Pews, Vicky has made it home.
Yeah.
So I know she's not completely out of it, but she's made it home. She's made it through chemo.
They're enough to release her to let her come home and see her kids.
Yes.
So and they're very grateful. They're very happy about it. So we're very grateful. We've already donated twice now from the amount of purchases. Like we said, we were taking 50% and giving it to that family to just bless them because they're good people. And this was like a very crazy scenario for them. Yep. So those LUTs are available. If you have a chance, you can find them. They're in the show notes down there. If you have a chance, test them out. They're cheap. They're $10 if you're shooting log already, or if you have a GH5s, you can go ahead and take advantage of them.
Yeah, I mean,
let us know how they work.
VLOG-L, from what I understand, hasn't changed.
I don't think it's changed at all. Right.
So.
They are very balanced. They're neutralized LUTs. They just level the footage out for you so that you can then, in turn, go around and get creative, stack another LUT on top. Technically, you could stack another LUT on top from a creative standpoint if you wanted.
You could if you want.
Yeah.
Or you can use anybody's LUTs that you want to.
Or use anybody's LUTs that you want to. We're not here to be LUT Nazis.
No.
No.
I'm not.
You should use any LUTs that work for you.
Yeah.
We have a preference. We like neutralize. I don't want someone dictating how my shot is going to look. Well, unless it's Jeff. Jeff.
Yeah.
But I
Well,
mean,
you
I
just-
want it to be baseline so that
Yeah.
I have a pretty image that then I can make decisions on grading. I don't want someone to force contrast on me that's unnecessary or just doesn't fit the field that I'm after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
There's a whole video out on it too that we put out. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Shamelessly peddling, whatever. If you have a
I've
chance,
just
check
seen a
them
lot
out. They
on it
benefit
lately.
somebody.
That's why I'm just like, everybody just choose what you want to choose.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
be happy.
Um,
That's all.
yeah. People are arguing against other people, and people are peddling theirs, and just a whole bunch of stuff. Just
It's just
do what
silly.
you want to do.
Yeah.
A LUT is there to help if you want it to help.
Right.
That's really it.
Right.
And it's not a be-all, end-all thing. Yeah. See, Drew's got a ton of them, too.
Yeah.
And I've started collecting them just to see what they all do.
I have a human
I'm very
LUT machine.
interested in...
Jeff Worley is the human LUT machine.
I'm actually more interested in
a
trying to
LUT-o-matic.
break down LUTs and then rebuild them.
Yeah.
In my spare time.
In my
Science.
spare time. Science in my spare time.
Are we going to do an HLG LUT? Yes, MPEG. At some point, I am going to get to it. It has been cloudy, rainy, non-optimal, ideal situations for me to be able to shoot some footage to be able to collect the correct info for it.
Right. From a data standpoint,
yeah.
for sure.
So I'm still waiting on the different aspects of being able to shoot some extra footage.
We are definitely LUT sluts. There's no way around it. There's a lot of LUT
Yeah.
sluts out there, but we use them for a different thing. Just
Yeah, I've used them for years from a DIT standpoint for what they literally have always been for me.
right.
As you plug them in to get somewhere close so that the director and producers can see an image that is somewhat relevant to where you're trying to go with it.
Right. Because most
That's
producers
really what it's
and
for.
a lot of directors have no idea what it looks like. They just see milky footage.
Yeah.
That's why I think
And they
there
don't
was a
care.
trend of like log footage just
Yeah.
hitting the airwaves. Ungraded log footage being like, yeah, this looks pretty good. Put it out there.
Exactly.
I don't know how to grade this crap.
Yeah, and bigger film sets, you start throwing out the actual close looks or the idea of what DP, and some lower ones, DPs and DITs also, on what they want the look to be like
Right.
on the final side of it. So that's where I come from on the LUT side.
Yep.
So use it for a partial thing.
Yeah, just like I said, it neutralizes. All right, well, we're going to keep the comment box open. We're going to shut down the live stream, but the comment box will stay open. If
Yeah.
you have questions, feel free to chat with us, talk to us. If you need to send us an email, Drew@craftshow.com, Jeff@craftshow.com. Check out the LUTs, please. They benefit somebody. They're awesome people. They're great people, and you get something
They
out of
are.
the deal at the same time. We price them, and there's a bunch of bonus LUTs. The's a bunch of just free LUTs.
There
We
is.
just
You're doing a
threw, like,
bunch of stuff that I've already
yeah,
done for
just
certain
random.
projects.
Some of them are red LUTs. Some of them are GH5 LUTs. They're just random LUTs. We just like,
Yeah.
here, just take all these. We don't know what they do. Just
No, you did a good job.
some of them may work, some may not. Who cares? But they worked for us in this certain project. So they're actually for very specific
Yeah.
shots, but maybe you can find value in them. It's like 30-something LUTs you get for $10. It's stupid. Now, I don't really count 4 as mattering, but still the other 26.
Yeah, the 4 are the ones that were
The
purposely
26 are
built
free.
for it.
Yeah, because we don't know if they'll work or not. Anyway, all right, that's going to do it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share if you're watching this video after the live stream.
Yeah.
Come hang out with us. We're usually here on Tuesdays. 99% of the time, we're here on Tuesdays.
Usually we're here unless Drew's sick.
Yeah, 2 p.m. Central. And if you have any thoughts, throw them in the comments. We talk there too. And yeah, thank you guys so much
Yeah.
again for being here. Thank you for another amazing year. We're really looking forward to 2018 and how far we can push ourselves, how far we can push each other,
Yeah.
and how far we can get paid.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
I gotta click buttons
Uh,
now.